Hi, my name is Melinda, and in this video I want to show you how to have some fun with dingbats in Digital Scrapbook Artist. If you're not familiar with a dingbat, it's basically just a font file. However, instead of typing out the letters ABC and seeing the letters ABC on your screen, each letter that you type out will represent a little image file. In order to use a dingbat, you do have to install it into your fonts, and once you've got it installed, you can open up Digital Scrapbook Artist and use it. So in order to use my dingbat, I'm going to click on text, and then I'm just going to click once on my page, and now I can find my dingbat. Now if you look here, you can see that this is the name of the font, and over here it represents the letters that would be typed out when you start typing the letter A, B. Over here is the dingbat I'm going to use, and this also shows you what letters it would represent if you type out A or B or C or D. I want to use this font, which is my dingbat, and I want to increase the size because I am making a video, so it will be much easier for you to see this. Now I can just select a letter, so I'm just going to pick the letter Q on my keyboard, and when I do that you can see that this is the image that is represented by that letter for this particular font. I'm just going to click on select to turn off the text feature, and while this is still selected, I'm going to drag a copy underneath it. So to do that, I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard and my left mouse button and just drag a copy down. And actually, now that I think of it, I think I'll make one more so that later on we can compare it once I've completed this. So going back to this file, I'm just going to click on it, and what I want to do is separate it so that I can color fill each little section. If you go down to edit or edit points, you're not going to be able to accomplish much because it's not going to let you fill in these sections, but if you keep this selected, you go down to the bottom of your screen and you click on convert to curves, and then you click on this button called break apart. Click once off of your image. You can now select each little section inside of this dingbat, and you can color fill them any colors you want. You could also use the scissors and slice through portions. You could use the eraser and erase sections, and the list goes on. If you wanted to even, you could change the way that this looks. All you do is you select it, and then you click on edit points, and you're going to see all these little boxes around here. If you click on one of those and just pull it away, click on select, you can see you've just changed that file. I actually don't like it this way, but just in case you wanted to play with things, you could. I'm going to click on undo so that it goes back to the way that it was. Now I want to color the water blue. I could easily click on the first portion and color it blue, then click on the next portion and so on, or I could do them all together at once. To do that, just click on the first part that you want to select, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and then left click on the other portions that you want with your mouse. And again, once you're happy, you can let go of the Shift key, and then I can just color fill it blue, and all of them color fill at the same time. With the dolphins, I want to make them gray, so I'm going to do the same thing. Click on the first dolphin, hold down the Shift key, click on the next one, and then the fin. Now I can let go of my Shift key and I can go over here and look for the color gray. If you don't have it, you could click on more and you could find a color swatch, or a much easier way is just to go to the color wheel. And in the color wheel, I'm just going to find a section that kind of looks gray right about here. And then when I go down the list here in this triangle, I can see that there are other shades of gray, and then they get darker as I progress onward. Now I do like this color gray, so I'm going to click once off of my image so it's no longer selected. And when I do that, I also notice that right here I've got a black section. I want that to be blue. So let's just move this portion a little bit down, and then I'm just going to grab it. And now that I've got it, I'm just going to color fill that blue and click off of my image. So I've got a nice image that's already filled with the colors I want to use. All I want to do now is apply an effect. So I'm just going to select everything. And since plastics over here is already in my section, I'll just click on plastic 1. And there we have a really nice file. Now one thing I want to do is I want to change the waves so that they have a little bit of a better effect. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to click on glass because glass is more reflective. And I'd like to basically click on this one, hold down the Shift key and click on the next ones, and I'd like to apply glass number 4. So that gives it a very interesting effect. The one thing though that I notice when I look at this file, it kind of looks a little lifeless because none of these dolphins have any eyeballs. So I could go over here to the pencil and draw them in, but since they're just eyeballs and they're just circles, I'm going to go to Shapes and click on the circle shape. And then once I've got my eyeball drawn, I'm going to color fill it black. And now I can just click on select to turn off my shapes. I'm just going to drag it onto the first dolphin. Once happy with it, I can just hold down the control key on my keyboard and my left mouse button and just drag another copy onto the other dolphin and then one more over here. So I went from having a file that was kind of lifeless to a file that kind of now looks like it's alive. If I want to now, I can also take this portion that I had moved down and apply an effect to it. So I'd like to go over here while it's selected, and I'd like to apply an elements effect. And I'm just going to go down the list here, and I can try different effects. I think I'd like to try waves because this is basically what the dolphins are. They're in some waves. I could also try at sea, but it doesn't look as nice. Let's just go back to waves. Alright, so now that I've got wave selected, I want to thicken this. To do that, I'm going to go to line, and I'm just going to move the slider up here until it gets a lot thicker. And then while the image is selected, I can now place this onto my dolphins, and this particular one has just snapped to the back. If yours doesn't, you can just leave it selected and then click on this button here, which is to the back. Once I've got it sort of in the place where I'd like it, I can still increase the thickness just a little bit until I'm happy with it. Once I'm happy with it, I can also leave it the way it is and group it up, or in this case, I'm just going to bring it down. I want to apply a plastics effect to it. Now you can't just go into plastic and apply a plastic effects because it's not going to work. If I try that, this is what happens. You see, I just get the color because this is the color that's represented. I'm just going to undo that. There is a way though that you can apply the plastics effect to your original effect, and that is to turn this into a bitmap. So while it's selected, go to the top of the screen and click on Tools, and then you're going to click on Convert to Bitmap. Leave everything in this box the way that it is and click on OK. It's going to take a little while to convert, but you're going to notice when it's done, the black fill will become transparent. So now that it's transparent, I know that this is now a bitmap. Now, as you can see, when I select this, I've got this huge box that goes around it. That's because it's a bitmap, and it's taking up a lot of space. So if you're going to be moving this, you can just hold it anywhere you want. Let's just put this to the back. And now let's apply my plastic effects to it, and that gives it a much nicer look. And then when I'm happy with exactly where the placement is, I'm just going to zoom out, and now I'm going to draw an imaginary box around all of these, so making sure that they're all selected, and I'm going to click on Group. And now I can move this file anywhere that I want. So what I want to do is zoom in so that you can get a little bit of a better view of this. And I want to go back down to my original file, and I just want to bring it up so that you can have a better view of what I've created. So I took this dingbat, which is kind of plain and boring and dull, and I created this new image, which I can now use in my layouts or my cards. If you don't have any dingbats, you can easily find them on the internet. There are thousands of them that are free. Let's just say you wanted to use a theme, for example, birthday. You would go to Google, type in the word birthday, type a space, then type the word dingbat. Then press enter. Find the different birthday fonts that you want to use that are dingbats, insert them into your computer, and once they're installed, again, you can just type them out with different letters and look at the ones to see what the images are represented by different keyboards. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email address is lovemyzombie@yahoo.ca.